almost started this video without turning on my microphone. That would have been so bad. What is up, my beautiful Glamazons, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my crazy hair day. Okay, I decided to wear my hair natural, and I don't know if I regret it yet, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to make it look cute by the end of the video, okay? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to story time this week, girl. I hope you guys are excited. I like to get ready with me style. Me personally, I just like feeling like I'm getting ready with my girls. This is how I be talking to my friends when I get ready, you know, to go out with them. When I used to have a life. Whether you're getting ready for work, you're getting ready for school, you're getting ready for a cute date, or you're like me and just getting ready to just stay in your house, sit down, relax, listen to some story time with your girl. I'm really excited, and we'll be dabbling in some makeup. Everything that I use in this video will be down in the description box as per usual. If you guys are new to my channel, what's up? My name is Nikki. I like doing story times and Ask Nikki's and fashion videos and hair videos and makeup videos and everything else. I'll be dipping my toes everywhere that I can. If you guys like what you see, make sure that you're subscribed, you hit that notification bell, and you follow me on my socials so you know what's going on behind the scenes, updates with new videos, all of that good stuff. So before we get started, 2 disclaimers because I don't want my comments to be full of complaints. Number 1, your girl is extremely pregnant right now, and I always like to remind you guys of that because some of you guys haven't been here in a while, and yes, I am pregnant for the 2nd time. I've been pregnant for 2 years in a row, okay? My breathing is really hindered right now, so you might hear your girl struggling every now and then between sentences, all right? Don't make fun of me. Don't be making me feel bad. I can't control it. You try being pregnant and telling a whole last story, okay? Secondly, I do have a 1-year-old son that is upstairs. He's just heavy-handed, heavy-footed, heavy everything, okay? My son does not know how to be quiet, so if you hear a little thump here and there, so if you guys hear any background noise, my apologies on behalf of my child, but hopefully it won't be too distracting. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's video. For those of you guys that are my OG Glamazons, y'all know that I love giving my Glamazons a shout out at the beginning of my videos to return all the love and support that you guys always give me so that I can just like show you off to the world. I have a Glamazon shot every video at the beginning of my videos, and I do pick between Instagram and Twitter. I toggle between the two. Last time I picked from Instagram, so this time I'm gonna pick through Twitter, and it's very, very simple. You just send me your cute selfie using the hashtag GlamazonShot, and of course tag your girl. So I'm sure that you wanted my home skillet biscuits. Let's say hello to our girl. She goes by Sarv, and at Sunset Life Sarv on Twitter. I will have all of her information right here. Look at our girl, okay? Just looking all kinds of cute. I love your lipstick. You didn't even like leave your lipstick color. Like, y'all just be trying to keep that stuff to yourself, and that is so selfish. Thank you so much, girl, for loving me and supporting me and sending me your beautiful glamour shot and just like being one of my ride or dies, my OGs, like my home skillet biscuits. I really, really appreciate you and everyone else. You guys know that I would not be here without you, and I could not do this without each and every one of you guys. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now let's get into the story. My skincare routine, y'all, is just like expanding, and I'm just like trying out new stuff and like really trying to get into the skincare game, you know what I'm saying? Because it really has been making a difference. So you guys are gonna see me rubbing quite a bit of things on my face before we get into the makeup. So let's get into it. So I have not decided on the title of this video just yet, but I do know that it's gonna be like somewhere along the lines of like my crazy drunk neighbor or whatever, but it is a part of my pretty petty series. If you guys are new here, I do have like different types of series within my story times, and my pretty petty series is exactly what it sounds like. It is the stories where I was petty, not always mature, and I don't always make like the mature decisions, and don't be sitting up here and trying to lie and say you do all the time either. And I do have a petty side that will get you. This is going to be a part of my pretty petty series, and I think back and I'm like, damn, Nikki, you were really, really petty. But then again, I just feel like y'all gonna tell me by the end of the video. I just feel like this girl deserved it. And like, so this story takes place when I was like 19, 20, somewhere around there. It was like around the time that I met David. Y'all already know that I always like based my stories on whether or not I met him yet. But at this time, I was still living downtown. So most of you guys know that I was living downtown when I met David. And when I say downtown, I'm not talking about, oh, like I can see downtown from here. No, I'm talking about like downtown, like literally neighbors with the Capitol building, okay? At this time, I had a full-time job downtown. I was working for one of the Denver transportation companies, and that's how I learned about like new trains that they were gonna be making and new light rails and stuff like that. So it was actually really, really interesting to be working with this company. Of course, as per usual, your girl was an executive administrative assistant, but I also worked the front desk. I don't know why, but like people would meet me during my interviews and then be like, yes, desk. We want you to be at the front desk. I did support the CEO and the CFO at this company. Now, when I tell you that my office was like located, I'm not even kidding, like 4 blocks away from my apartment, you guys, it was just like ideal. But it's really funny because right before this, I had gotten my Scion TC. Now, let's talk about my car really fast, okay? So when I was 19, I wanted a car and I had never had a car before. Y'all already know your girl was about that bus life, right? Because I was like a first time buyer and I didn't have like a long credit history, they were only willing to give me credit with like a bunch of stipulations. They basically controlled everything down to where I could buy my car from. Like, I'm not even kidding. So I had to go to the specific dealership that was like way out in BFE. I had to choose a car that was on that lot. If I didn't like whatever they had, too bad. Like, that's all they were willing to give me. My mom and I had gone to this car lot. That is when I test drove and fell in love with my 2007 Scion TC. It looks a little something like this. I was so in love with it. I was so proud of it. I was way overpaying for it. It made me prove myself, and like that my interest was like through the roof, and like my girl, it was just, I was super excited to have a car. But then we ended up moving downtown and my job was like legit a few blocks away, so I would walk. Therefore, I wasn't really using my car a whole lot because, like, I mean, my whole life was basically just like working. And then if I ever went out with my friends, we usually party downtown, so like I wasn't using my car then either. We would just walk to the bars and the clubs together. I met David. He lived so far. In order for me to go see my man, that was basically the only time I was using my car, was to go see David. I'm not even kidding, y'all. I was whooped. Here's how it went, okay? My mom and I lived in this apartment together, the one downtown. And then shortly thereafter, she ended up moving to New York. She had always wanted to move to New York. And she was like, Mija, you're 19, you're grown, you got your job, you pay your bills. Like, I'm going to go and do something that I've always wanted to do. She had just, you know, separated from her ex-husband, Ariel's dad. And so I just feel like my mom was kind of, you know, trying to finally living the life that she wanted to live and just doing whatever it is that she wanted to do. So I really supported her in that. And I was like, okay, mommy, like, you know, you want to go live in New York. Now, keep in mind, I had never lived away from my mom before, but like, I understood like she had already been through so much and she wanted a fresh start. So I was like, you want to go to New York? Go to New York, like, go do you. And like, it would give me an excuse to go visit New York. Like, how cool, you know? She had her job out there. She lived on Coney Island. She was making YouTube videos at the time. She was like living her best life. Well, then she started feeling really sick out of nowhere. And my mom was never, ever, ever a sickly person. And she, you know, I would FaceTime her almost like every day. I just started noticing that she was like complaining about things that she had never complained about before, like body aches and headaches and, you know, like these severe migraines, telling me that she just felt fatigued and she didn't have any energy, which you definitely need to have energy if you live in New York, you know? I just remember being on FaceTime with her a lot, literally just seeing my mom morph into a different person, and it was not who she usually was. And she was like, Mija, I don't know what's going on. I just feel like really tired and I feel really overwhelmed. And like, she just was like a big ball of anxiety all the time. I was really worried about her, and I was like, Mom, you need to go and, you know, get checked out and see your doctor or whatever, especially for this pain that you've been feeling. And so that's exactly what she did. And it was while she was in New York, you guys, that she found out that she had cancer. Now, at this point in time, they didn't know exactly what type of cancer, but because they knew that there was something going on, and they basically told her, from what we're seeing right now, this is going to be a really long journey for you. So we would suggest that you go back to Denver with family to help you, because this is going to be a battle. I remember this like it was yesterday, y'all. My mom called me and told me that, you know, what her doctor had said and what they had been recommending. And she was like, you know what, I can't continue to do this and I feel really sick, so I'm just gonna move back home. So my mom ended up moving back home, and then she started seeing specialists here, and then her journey began where she was battling cancer, right? She would have good days and then she would have bad days, and it was just like that beginning stage of my mom going through all that. Now, at this time, something really traumatic was going on in my life at the same time that I was meeting David and like falling in love and starting a new relationship, right? Stay you know, at the apartment with my mom all week, and I would go to work and, you know, do what I needed to do. And then when the weekend would come around, I would, you guys, every weekend, every single weekend, I was spending the night at David's apartment. I was always at his place because he lived with his roommate who was his best friend, but his best friend was actually working out in New Jersey at the time. So David pretty much had the whole apartment to himself, or so I thought in the beginning, because David was like definitely not he wasn't as transparent with me about his living situation at the time. I started staying more and more frequently with David, and it just kind of starts becoming like a habit that every weekend I'm over there. I would still call and check in on my mom, make sure that she had everything and like how she was feeling. I would FaceTime her sometimes. One day comes around, right? And my mom is like really upset, and she's texting me and she's like, oh my God, our neighbor is just being so loud and so rude. And up until this point, like I had not heard our neighbor or had any issues like that, but there was like a new person moving in across the hall, right? Now keep in mind, the apartment buildings that are like in that area of downtown were really, really little, and so were the hallways, you know? So when you had somebody moving in, like everybody could hear it, and it was just a really small space. She was talking about these new people that had moved in, and they had just moved in like the week prior, and she was like, they are so loud, and like they are just like so rude, and they're partying all hours of the night. Part of me was sitting there because my mom had just been feeling bad. You know, when you don't feel good and you're in pain a lot, like everything is just agitating to you. So part of me was like, maybe it's not that bad, and you know, maybe my mom is just kind of like really overwhelmed and she just doesn't feel good, because she was like super upset. Y'all know my mom, and she was like, you know, I'm gonna complain, and like this is ridiculous. And I remember being like, Mom, like, are you sure it's that bad? And she was like, FaceTime me, I will show you. And I FaceTimed her, and she's like sitting in our apartment, and she's like in the living room. She answered the phone, and she was super upset, and she was like, don't talk. She was like, I just want you to hear what's going on right now. And I was like, okay. So we both like got silent, and you guys, it sounded like a full on club was going on. Like it was just so loud, and you can hear boof, 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 like the walls, like it was just reverberating through the walls, and you could just hear all of this bass and like all of these voices. Then my mom was like, you know, I peeked my head out there. She was like, they are having a party. And I was like, well, yeah, you know. And she was like, no, like they're having like a full on party, and they're acting like this is a dorm building. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, the party, like they're allowing their guests to be out in our main hallway, and they're like, you know, giving people drinks and stuff out there. My mom opened the door, you guys, and like she like let me see out there, and sure enough, there are just like a few people lined up out there, and they're just like drinking, having fun, just like chit-chatting, like they're at some goddamn club. And this is an apartment building, okay? So like there are other people that live here, and I could not believe it. Like I had not seen that happen. But granted, I was not home usually during the weekends. I was at David's. My mom was like, this has been happening for like 2 weeks now, and I'm over it. Like I can't sleep, and like I get it, it's a Saturday, but they start really, really early, and then they go on until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and like it doesn't end, and there's like a bunch of really weird people. Now usually downtown, because you're downtown, the apartments, you know, you can't just like walk in. You have to have like a fob to, you know, scan and get in. So that's how our property was anyway. So my mom was upset because she was like, this is like a secured property, and all of these crazy ass people are being let in, and they're just like all up in the hallways and, you know, just having themselves a good old time. Like this is ridiculous. It was like, you know, I'm not gonna sleep tonight. And I just felt so bad because my mom was really sick, and she just wasn't feeling well. More than anything, she needed rest during this time, and we were still waiting on test results, and we were like on the fence about what was going on with her. In a nutshell, she just did not need all of this. You know, my mom does not leave anything up to chance. She always has her receipts. So she was like, let me let you go. I'm gonna start recording, you know, showing them doing the most, and I'm gonna send it over to the landlord because this is stupid. And there were other neighbors that were upset, so she was like, I gotta go. And I was like, okay. That was like the beginning of, you know, me hearing about this issue with our neighbor from my mom. Then it started getting worse, and it wasn't just on the weekend. It was 2 girls, okay? As time went on, I started, you know, kind of recognizing who lived in that unit across the hall from us because, you know, it's such a small building. And it was 2 girls, and they were like in their early 20s. They were like around my age. And they both lived there, and one of them was pretty cool, and she and I actually had a few words, like little pleasantries at our mailbox. But the other one, y'all, the other one, she just exuded like bitchiness. Run into her in the hallway, and like she just was being so loud on her phone, and she would invite random people over to her apartment like all hours of the night. And then everything just started getting progressively worse from there. And instead of just them partying on the weekends, they started partying throughout the week. My mom, just because she was sick, did not mean that she did not have bills. She still had to get up and go to work, and so did I. So when it started affecting, you know, us being able to go to work and have a good night's sleep and, you know, make our money, then I was like, okay, you know what? This is an issue. We need to do something. And my mom and I were actually friends with the lady that owned our building. We owned different properties in Denver. She had shown us, you know, a few different properties before we got that apartment. Because of that, we were like pretty good homies with the landlord, and she was like a younger lady. We really tried to like just hold it together and be understanding until you start partying during the week. I'm not about that life. I gotta be up at 6:30 in the morning. You got me messed up, and you over here partying until 3-4 o'clock in the morning. No. We did. We got a hold of the landlord, and we were like, look, this is becoming too much, and we like, this is what's going on, y'all. We were sending video, we were sending all kind like timestamps, and like, this is how long they're doing this. She was like, I'm gonna look into it. She was like, I'm gonna give them a warning or whatever, and then if it continues to happen, I'm gonna have to evict them because they're causing issues for, you know, all the tenants in the building. We're not the only ones complaining, trust and believe me. Fast forward like a week, right? And there was something going on where I needed to like bring big things into our building, and there was like a back entrance, and back there it like looked kind of like an alley, and there was like parking there as well, but it was all rented space. I didn't want to have to go and park my Scion over, you know, a block and a half away when I had all of this shit to bring in, right? I had gotten a hold of our landlord to basically ask permission if I could temporarily park my Scion out there, you know, near the back door of our building, because, you know, I have A, B, and C to bring inside the building, and I was basically looking for clearance to just park there for 24 hours, less than 24 hours. I'll move my car early tomorrow morning, but like, can I please have this spot overnight? Like I said, our landlord was the homie, and she was like, yeah, you know, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure that you move your car by 8 a.m. So I was like, okay, cool. Thank God, you know, she allowed me to have my car there, so, you know, your girl didn't have to walk off far with all this shit. So I got all this stuff out of my car, you know, moved it inside of the apartment or whatever. As you guys can imagine, living downtown and that close in proximity to clubs, like, you know, the club that I met David at was literally like 2 blocks away. You know, there was a lot of bars. You would hear and see the craziest shit like out by my apartments, and like you would see people fighting, you would see bitches fighting, you would see dudes fighting, you would see drunk people, you would see like homeless people out there, and it turned into a completely different place that night. So anytime I was like home for the weekend, y'all, it was like crazy because, you know, everybody was out there trying to get their party on downtown. And so that's another thing that you need to think about whenever you want to move downtown anywhere, pretty much, is that on the weekends it gets really crazy because you have all of these people coming down to party, and then you have a bunch of drunk people getting in their car when they don't have any business, or like trying to find their car. They could mess up your car and stuff like that, and I was always scared of that. And my Scion did get, you know, a few dings, crazy people touching it and stuff over at that parking lot that I used to park at. So because I had gotten clearance from my landlord to like park in that spot overnight, I was like super happy because, you know, the next morning was going to be a lot easier, and, you know, I had a parking spot on the premises. All night, you guys, I just hear random people outside of my window. You know, I lived on the 2nd floor, so I would hear, you know, random people, and sometimes I would look out there and just, you know, watch and just entertain myself. But after a while, it is kind of annoying, and you just kind of learn how to, you know, just block it out and like turn up your TV so you don't have to hear it. I remember hearing the voice of like girls, just like really, really drunk girls. And this was not rare. It sounded like they were right outside of our windows, which meant that they were like in that little alley area in the back of our apartments. But I did not look out the window. Like I was just like, it's just like, you know, some crazy drunk girls just having some fun, whatever. Next morning rolls around and I'm about to go run errands and do whatever I need to do. You guys, I get out the back door and I'm like walking towards my car. My car was like literally right there. And like I'm on my phone and I smell something rancid. Like I smell throw up. Y'all know what throw up smells like, okay? It just hit me, punched me right in the face, girl. So bad. And I was like, what is that smell? Like, oh my God, like it legit smelled like somebody just like threw up in my face. I was like, what is that, right? I look up and I see this girl, okay? She's a blonde girl. And she's like halfway on my hood of my car. And there's throw up on the side of my car and like dripping downward, okay? Like she basically passed out on my car, had her a little throw up sesh, and then went ahead and went to sleep. I don't know how many hours this girl was out there, but she had been out there for a while, okay? Like she was still in her club clothes. What in the entire I know how much I love my car. Okay, I love my car. And like I said, I was paying a lot of money for my car. And like I did not play when it came to my car. And I was like, bitch, I'm trying not to throw up myself because her throw up, I don't know what the hell she was drinking the night before, but my God. Like, what do I do? Do I try to wake her up? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know her. But as I start getting closer to her, I start recognizing her. And it's old girl that was always really loud, that lives across the hall from me. The really loud, you know, obnoxious, you know, ain't got no home training girl, her. Just seeing her because I knew that she had been so rude, just doing the most and like had no consideration for nobody. I didn't have no sympathy for her. Like, you are so stupid. You for real got this messed up and you couldn't even make it inside of the apartment. And then your ass for real used my car to like lean up against and sleep on and throw up all over. Like, bitch, get the fuck off my car. Like, I was so, the minute I saw who it was, I was like, bitch, oh no. I start banging on my hood. Hello, can you get off my car? Can you get off my car? What is this? Is this your throw up? She like lifted up her head and she had like throw up all down the side of her face. And she was like, what? And I was like, I need you to get the fuck up off my car. She couldn't even like articulate herself. She was still so messed up. And I was like, I don't have time for this. Like, I have errands to run. Like, I don't know you, bitch, to be babysitting you. Like, I need to go. And now my car, like, you got your funky ass throw up all over my car. I really was not nice about it just because if you are mean to your neighbors, you cannot expect your neighbors to be neighborly when your ass needs it. Fuck all that. Like, I'm not about to help you with shit. I don't know you. You know, I'm going off and I'm like, get the fuck off my car. All of a sudden, the back door to my apartment's open. And it's the other girl that lives in the apartment with old girl, right? And she comes out and she was like, oh my God. And I don't know if like she heard me just like going off. And so she comes out there and she's like, oh my God, Amy. She was like, what the hell? Like, I've been texting you. Like, I was wondering where you were. Like, what the fuck are you doing? She like walked around my car. She was like, I am so sorry. And I was like, look, I gotta go. I was like, can you get your friend? And she was like, yeah. And she was so annoyed. She was like, yeah, come on, we need to get inside. Her friend was like super annoyed. And she was like, dude, you always do this. Like, I can't be babysitting you all the time. Let's go. So she starts trying to help her messy ass up. And like, you guys, this girl was like so messed up. She like stood up and her skirt wasn't even covering her booty no more. Like, she was just a mess. Like, she really should have been ashamed of herself, like straight up. And no, neither one of them offered to like wash my car or pay for the car wash or nothing, you know, because they just did not. It was at that point that I was seriously trying to get one of the parking spots down in the garage from my landlord, because, you know, even at the parking lot that was, you know, a block or two away, it was an open parking lot. It wasn't covered. People would go downtown to like go party and would be looking for parking, and our parking lot was private. Like, you had to live in the area and like you had to have a sticker and be like a monthly member in order to park there. But people would be, you know, too messed up or like wouldn't pay attention, and they would try to park where they weren't supposed to. And like, my shit was getting dinged up, and I was just like, dude, I can't do this anymore. So I started, you know, hitting up my landlord and be like, do you have a parking spot? Do you have a parking spot? Because I wanted to be in that garage. I eventually got my car into that garage, but this was definitely a moment that really jump started me being a bugaboo with my landlord, because I was not trying to have anything else happen in my car. I was like, this is so stupid. And I found the same girl, you know, the girl that's been having parties all weekend. She was passed out on the hood of my car, and y'all, I sent her everything. I did. Like, I straight up told my landlord, I was like, and this is why I need to have a parking spot in the garage, please. Now, this is the Inglot liner, and it is like amazing. I have tried so many different liners and nothing compares, I'm just saying. Lashes and liner really do make a huge difference. Before y'all ask, these are the Huda Beauty Giselle #1 Classic eyelashes, and I really love them. Yes, girl. Okay, so on with the story. One day came around, and I used to be a runner, okay? Like, I used to love running, and I would run laps around the Capitol building and like up and down Broadway. So y'all, my booty was like popping back then, okay? Because like I was always working out and like going running all the time. It's like in my living room, you know, getting everything ready and like my headphones and all that and my water or whatever, and I start hearing like a bunch of like commotion out in the hallway, and like you can hear furniture, you can hear like dragging, like people were moving stuff, right? I ended up looking out of the peephole, and it looked like, from what I could see, that they were moving out of the apartment across the hall from us. I tell you guys, you could hear everything in this building because it was an old ass building. This building was legit haunted, okay? And I'll have to tell you guys another story about like the shit that was happening in that apartment. David and I were talking about this just the other day. You could just hear everything through them. Like, if somebody was out in the hallway, it seemed like they were in your apartment. I'm like standing there and I'm getting everything ready or whatever, you know, to go running, and I start hearing, you know, voices, and I start being able to make out what they're saying. And all of a sudden I hear a girl's voice, and you know, she's being all loud, and she's like saying hi to somebody, and she was like, hi. She was like, thank you so much for coming and helping, like I really appreciate it. She was like, I'm so sorry it was last minute, we got evicted because of that bitch across the hall, you know, that bitch, yeah, that same one, she has been complaining on us all the time, and like she got us evicted, stupid bitch. And she was being loud on purpose. So I think that she was like talking about my mom, because my mom had confronted them in person. Y'all know Mama Glamour, like she did not have an issue, and she had gone out there before during their parties in the past and been like, you know, I got work in the morning, you guys cannot be doing this, like right? She was definitely talking about my mom, because I had not had a chance to talk to her besides, you know, telling her to get the fuck off my car when she was like super drunk. You know, so I hear that, and like I'm standing at my dining room table, and I'm like, oh, I'm about to walk out, you know, I got shit to do. I gotta go running, make sure my booty stays right. I open my door, and they're all out there, y'all. All of them. And it's like 4 or 5 of them, and it's like a few dudes, and then her friend, and then her. She's like in the middle of saying what she's saying and like talking shit and being like, yeah, that bitch across the hall, I literally opened the door when she was saying that shit, and I was like, oh, well, let's see what you got to say. Let's see. Open the door like nothing, and I look over there, and I literally went like this, and I turned around, I shut the door, and I'm like locking it, right? So they're all standing there. So I lock my door, and then I turn around and I looked at her, and I was just like, I mean, you had so much to say. Like, I just wanted to give her an opportunity to like get whatever it was off her chest. Guys, she like went pale, and she like looked at me, and because she was like around all her friends, I feel like she felt pressured, or like that she had to confront me, or she had to say something, because she had been talking all this shit. And so now she's like on the spot. She was like, do you live there? And I said, yes, I do. I was like, why? Do we have an issue? She was like, with your roommate, you know, the bitchy one. And she like looked at her friends like, ah ha ha, you know. And I was like, that's my mama you talking about. I was like, so you better watch your fucking mouth. Guys, I started going off. She was like, I'm sorry, I just don't feel like I should be getting evicted. I was like, and I'm sorry, I like to sleep and I have shit to do in the morning, and so does my mother. And you have absolutely no right to be sitting up here having full on fucking parties all week and weekend, bitch. I was like, if you would like to know, my mama's not the one who got you evicted. I was. Straight up, y'all. She didn't have shit to say. She didn't have nothing to say. She just sat there. The way that I had to walk, I had to like walk past their apartment. I start walking down the hall and I'm still talking shit. You real fast to act like you all big and bad. I was like, and like you don't feel like you need to be evicted. I was like, but you over here passing out on my fucking car as well. I was like, you remember that, or do you not remember that with your janky ass sleeping out there in the parking lot like a homeless person on my fucking car? I was like, bitch, you owe me a car wash. I was like, don't sit up here and be talking shit. Lucky I didn't beat your ass that morning for all the fucking throw up that you had all over my car. You need to get your shit and get out of here silently. Got anything else to say? You better not go bother my mom. You got something to say, you can come knock on my door and you and I can have a discussion. Y'all, her friends and like her roommate, they were all like, and I was just like, you got me fucked up. Let me get this straight. You thought it was just like my mom here? So like she would have been talking to my mom like that had my mom been the one to go out into the hallway and like had something to do that day. What my point is like, had it not been me, would she have been talking to my mama like that? Like that's what pissed me off. And I was like, dude, you just talk so much shit. I just heard you for like the last 5 minutes just going off on and on, making sure that my mom could hear you calling her out her name like that. And now that I'm here to tell you, no, first of all, bitch, I'm the one who got you fucking evicted. I'm the one, like, me. I hate people like that. If you got something to say and you over there talking shit and then you get called out and then all of a sudden you ain't got nothing to say, like, it's just the most cowardly thing ever. And I just feel like had it not been me, she would have been real quick to be talking to my mom like that. So I went on with my day and I went out for my run and I was so pissed and I was like, I need to like go expel this energy because I really wanted to whoop her ass. Like I just wanted to whoop her ass for the sheer disrespect and her. Y'all know when a girl just wants you to hear her, and she was doing that on purpose. And like she didn't even know that like I lived there. She did not know that, and even if she did, she didn't know that my mom and I were related, because like I've said a million times, my mom and I do not look alike at all. And there's like a lot of roommate situations going on, you know, in buildings like that. She wanted my mother to hear that, and that's what like pissed me off. Did y'all think the story was over? Y'all thought that I brought you all the way over here and like did all my makeup and stuff just for that? No, bitch. Fast forward a few months, okay, and one of the ladies that I worked with, she was like one of the assistants, and she was one of those ladies that like had worked there for years and years and years, and she was about to retire. So they were like already on it and trying to, you know, onboard somebody new in time, you know, for her to still be able to train this person. We start getting, you know, candidates coming in, and there are dudes and there are girls and there are older girls and younger girls and like, you know, everyone in between. And I would say probably 3 different candidates came in, and, you know, I'm the person that offers them coffee and, you know, lets HR know that they're here so that they can conduct the interview or whatever. And then I walk them back to the conference room and, you know, do all that. I'm sitting at my desk and, you know, I'm like constantly looking up, you know, the elevators. We had like these big, you know, floor to ceiling doors like that were glass so you could see through them. And the elevators were literally right there. So anytime anybody got off the elevator, because I knew that we were going to be having candidates coming, I was always like, you know, just like looking up so that they would see a friendly face and I was prepared. And I see out of the corner of my eye somebody step off the elevator, and it's a girl, and she's like looking down at her purse. And, you know, so I, you know, get myself prepared, and I'm like, you know, about to greet her. She opens the door and she like lifts her head up to open the door. Who do you think it was? Who do you think it was walking through the door of my job, okay? Who do you think fate brought into the front of my job? Fucking Amy, okay? From my apartment building that had gotten evicted a few months prior. Y'all, she looked at me. I looked at her like this. Immediately, like, she was just like, oh, shit. And I was like, oh, you came here looking for a job? Okay. I have to remain professional. This is my professional establishment. So I set the tone, and I get up and I pretend like I don't know her. You here for an interview? And you guys, it caught her so off guard, and she was like looking at me like, oh shit, like, is this like real life? Like, what's going on? Like, are you about to go off? Like, she was not expecting me to come at her like that. And she was like, you guys, it took her so long to like get it together, and I'm just sitting there looking at her like, oh, you look so stupid right now. Finally, she's like, yeah, you know, my name is, you know, Amy so-and-so, and I'm here to see, you know, this person for my interview. I already know the best way to get under somebody's skin that don't like you is to be really, really nice to them. So I started being like super sugary sweet to her, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, we're so excited to have you here. I was like, can I get you anything? You know, can I get you any coffee? We have tea. And you guys, the whole time she's looking at me sideways like, and she was like, no thanks, I'm fine. And I was like, are you sure? I was like, you know, we have some amazing coffee. It is from Starbucks, you know, and you're more than welcome. And she was like, no thanks. And I was like, okay, great. I was like, well, I will let them know that you're here. I was like, if you just want to have a seat, I will let them know that you're here, and then we'll get you back into the conference room momentarily, okay? I was just like relishing in the fact that she was just so caught off guard, and I'm sitting there and I sit down at my desk and she's like literally right next to me, like in the little seating area, and I sit down at my desk, and you know, and I call the HR director and I'm like, hi, you know, I have Miss so-and-so here for, you know, your interview at 2 o'clock. He just tells me to go ahead and walk her back to the conference room like they were already ready for her. So, you know, she had only been sitting there for like a few seconds. I'm not even kidding. And so, you know, I get off the phone and I'm like, okay, they're ready for you. Why don't you go ahead and follow me? So you guys, she like, it was so awkward, and I could just feel her like just dying on the inside. And I'm like, okay. Introduced everyone. And I was like, you can go ahead and have a seat. Do you need anything before your interview starts? And you know, I'm just like really displaying the utmost professionalism. And again, you guys, she's like looking at me and she's like, no thanks. And like she was just caught so off guard, and I was like, okay, good luck. Like, and I go back out to my desk and I'm just like laughing to myself because I know that like I probably caught her so off guard, and she's gonna have to like pull everything together for her interview. And I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't care how her interview went. Like I couldn't stand her. So they conduct the interview with her, and she was probably in there for like maybe 15-20 minutes. And she came out, and she had to get her parking validated by me. And so she comes to my desk. It was another like super awkward moment. And like, again, I'm just sweet as pie, you know what I'm saying? Because I gotta remain professional. Fast forward a few days, and they're like going through the candidates, and they're basically dwindling down, you know, who they're considering for this new position. And because I was, you know, up at the front desk, everybody would like stop at my desk and just like chit chat, and like I was really close to everyone in my offices always. The assistant that was going to be retiring, we'll call her like Susan, she had stopped by my desk, was talking to me about how the interviews went, and like, you know, the different people that she met, and like who she felt like was a good fit, and like who she definitely felt like wasn't. And she was like, you know, stuck between 3 different candidates. And I was like, really, who? You know, because I saw all of them, obviously. And she was like, you know, this guy, this girl, and then that other girl, Amy. She was like, you know, you interacted with them. Like, what do you think? Well, far be it from me to not tell my coworker the truth about my experience with this girl and my concern about her professionalism if given this position. I got a little petty, and I started talking to Susan, and I was like, actually, it's so funny that you mentioned her because I know her. And she was like, really? She was like, from where? And I was like, actually, she used to live in my apartments a few months back. I was like, unfortunately, she did get evicted. And she was like, oh no, really? Y'all, I did, okay? I was petty. That is why this is called Pretty Petty. I was so petty, and I was like, yeah. I was like, you know, she just had parties all hours of the night, and I actually ended up finding her passed out on the hood of my car one morning. I was like, she just wasn't being a courteous neighbor, and unfortunately, there were a lot of complaints filed against her, and she ended up getting evicted. It was a small world, so when she walked in, like, you know, I had already known her from before, and like, you guys, Susan's face, she was like, oh, like that's not good. And I was like, no, it's not. You know, some people just like partying like that, and you know, having crazy lifestyles like that, and you know, not being considerate of others, and you know, their living space. So you know, it was really unfortunate, but our building has been very peaceful ever since. And like, older ladies, you cannot tell an older lady that somebody's being rude, like, and being loud, okay? At that moment, she was like, well then, oh no, like, you know, we need somebody that's great with time management and that's responsible, like you, Nikki. And I was like, I know, right? I honestly think that the other 2 candidates would probably be a better fit. And she was like, I think you're right. I did. I was so petty and just like, I straight up stopped old girl from getting that position. She was in the running. She must have done okay in her interview, but not on my watch, hunty. You're not about to be sitting up there calling my mama no bitch and then coming to my place to work and think that you gonna get a job here. You out your damn mind. I did. I stopped old girl from getting that position at my company because honestly, genuinely, if you act that way, like I didn't even party like that. Like there just has to be work-life balance, and like I just could not imagine her being professional enough and responsible enough to maintain this position within this company anyway. But also, you pissed me the fuck off and you called my mom a bitch, and like, so I did. I was super petty and I told Susan like the truth. I just told her the truth. But my intention was to make sure that she did not get that position, and she did not. This be fair warning that you should treat other people with respect, because you never know who they are, how they can possibly help you in the future. Like, you don't know. And that's why you shouldn't be like a terrible neighbor and a terrible person and be rude and like be thinking that you could just talk to anybody any kind of way, because it will come back around and bite you in the ass, especially with my petty ass. I was not about to do it. I was like, no, like I'm not about to be working with her. So that is it for today's story time, you guys, and another addition to my Pretty Petty series. I hope you guys enjoyed it and understood me. But if not, you know, whatever. I already know that I was petty as hell and I stand by it 100%. How do you guys feel about this look? I feel like I really like it. It's very pink and glittery and sparkly, and I'm just feeling it. So again, I will leave everything that I use down in the description box below for you guys to check out. If you guys have any questions for me, leave them down in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Be a part of my glam fam. I would love to have you. Thank you guys so much for coming to chill and getting ready with me. I really appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. And I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Peace out.